Good morning. I've been away for a while. So sorry I've not been consistent because of a lot of other engagement. But we have two series we'll be looking at in the month of May. The first one we are starting today, and that is starting and managing export business. Then later in the month, we'll be looking at service export, and that will be how to export your services to the world. How to export your services to the world. So we'll start with starting and managing export business. Starting and managing export business. We're talking a lot about export business, and I've talked about different things on export business. So what I would do in this race is to try to put everything together in a way, in a coordinated way, such that at the end of the day, you have a series that combine everything together, and everything tends to fit into one space or the other, one area or the other. That's what I will try to do here. So you see here some of the things you've heard before about pricing. We hear some of the things you heard before about problem. You hear some of the things you've heard before. I have what is called preamble. I have preparation, the products, the planning, the processing, the packaging, the pricing, the paperwork, the payment, the promotion, the problems, and possibilities. So there's so many things to talk about as far as export business is concerned. What we also need to realize is the fact that the more we learn, the better we are. So if you have known some things about export before, what this is going to do for you is to open your eyes to other opportunities you probably were not looking at before, or you probably were not even aware of before. And that's what we'll try to do through this channel. And this is very important. It's very important because at the end of the day, it makes you to be a well-grounded person. Because if there's one major challenge we have in this space today, is because of inadequate knowledge among the people within the business, especially not just on the processing, but also in being able to effectively manage the risk. Like I said, especially not just on the processing, but being able to effectively manage the risk. Because it's a business, and like I tell people that just like any other business, export have its own problem, its own issues, its own challenges, just like any other business. Just like it. So there's nothing peculiar, there's nothing you will see about business generally that is peculiar to export. Anything you see is just like any other business. Just like any other business. So let's get that clear to know and understand that whatever issue you see as far as export business is concerned, any issue you see is just like any other business. So the only peculiarity export we bring to the table is basically because of the extra level of risk. Extra level of risk, which is mainly brought about as a result of the fact that you are dealing with someone abroad. As a result of the fact that you are dealing with someone abroad. Just that additional level of risk. But most other risk or challenges you face in export is just like any other business. So there's nothing really peculiar or unique or different about export that you not find in other business. But like I said, what makes the peculiarity or the challenges of export a bit different and unique is the fact that you are dealing with a business that is that has a foreign leg, and sometimes you might not have met the person you are dealing with before. Sometimes you might not have met the person you are dealing with before, and that is a big challenge for some people. But what you should also know is that you can still be able to manage the risk effectively. That despite the fact that you have not met the person you are dealing with before, you can still reduce the risk. You can still reduce the risk. You can still minimize the risk that you face as a business because you are dealing with someone that you have not met before. So that you have not met the person before is not a problem. That's very common around the world. Some people in the world doing business together, they don't get to know about themselves until many years after. Until many years after. And that tells you about the fact that what you really need is being able to anticipate the risk you face in that business and being able to mitigate that risk. Being able to anticipate the risk and mitigate the risk. Anticipate the risk and mitigate the risk. Anticipate the risk and mitigate the risk. The major challenge is the fact that people are not knowledgeable enough to anticipate the risk. People are not knowledgeable enough to anticipate the risk. What you must learn is to be able to anticipate the risk and minimize the risk. What you should learn, what you must learn is to be able to anticipate the risk and be able to minimize the risk. What you cannot measure, you cannot manage. It's become easier for you to manage an issue when you can measure it. So the question you should be asking yourself is, what are the risks you face? What are the implications of this risk? Then what do I need to do to be able to minimize this risk? What do I need to do on my part to be able to minimize this risk? And these are very important and critical issues to be looked at. Very important and critical issue to be looked at. What do I need to do on my part? What are the things I must do on my part? What are the things I must put in place on my part to be able to significantly minimize the risk I face in this business? And this is very, very important. You know why? It's important because at the end of the day, that is what will determine what becomes of you. At the end of the day, in that business, that is what will determine what becomes of you. And what I mean by that is that being able to anticipate and minimize the risk determine how far you will go in the business, determine the successes you are going to be able to record in the business, determine the lifespan of the business. Determine the lifespan of the business at the end of the day. And this is very critical, crucial, and important, because the challenge for many is that we go into a business and we do not try to have a good understanding of what the risks are, what the challenges are, what I need to do to be able to significantly minimize my risk. And what I'm saying, if the principle I'm talking about this morning sincerely is peculiar to just any business you can think about. The principle I'm talking about this morning is peculiar to just any kind of businesses you can think about. So any kind of business you are thinking about, be rest assured that you can apply this principle I'm talking about this morning. And being able to know and apply the principle to a large extent then determine your success. If you are unable to know and anticipate these challenges, then it becomes very difficult for you to be able to be successful in the business. So you see a situation where people get into business, that business is very risky. And I said, just like any other business in Nigeria. Export is risky, just like pure water business. Export is risky, just like logistic business. Export, just like, besides the peculiarity, like I said, peculiarity of export, the only peculiarity of export is simply in the risk that many businesses don't have, that you face, and simply as a result of the fact that you are dealing with someone in other domain. Besides that, every other risk is the same. So as we start this series on starting and managing export business, what I will basically be talking about is the principles. And the essence of talking about the principle is to be able to now effectively anticipate the challenges and manage it. Anticipate the risk and manage it. Anticipate the issues and manage it. That's the whole essence. In fact, immediately you are able to, the whole essence of learning about it is, what could go wrong? How could I minimize it? How could I manage it and be able to eventually make the business a success? That's the whole essence of what we're talking about. That's the lesson I'm talking about. So as much as possible, if you miss any of this series, it's already going to be numbered and it'll always be on my timeline. So you can always go back to it in case you miss any. And if you have interest in export, or you have friends that have interest in export, you probably want to click on your share button right now to share with them, for them to be aware of this opportunity, for them to be aware of this potential. These are what they will pay an arm and a leg for. We charge for this also. But we have made this our own corporate social responsibility to contribute our own quota to the understanding of trade. You know, when you look at countries that do a lot of trade, what you find out in that environment is that an average business person in that environment have a good understanding of trade. That's why many people are doing it, because an average business person in that environment have a good understanding of trade. That's why many people are doing it. If an average business person in that environment does not understand, many people will not do it. And you know what that means? It will become difficult to make progress in that business, because many people will not do it. Why will many people not do it? Because they don't have understanding of it. And we realize that a lot of businesses have potential for export in Nigeria, but a lot of businesses do not export. Not because they don't want to export, but because they don't have the information. So what we are doing today is to make this information readily available. Readily available. Readily available. So come with me on the journey to mastering, understanding, starting and managing export business in Nigeria. Not just in Nigeria, generally actually. Remember, this import-export platform from 3D Printing Academy, and it's a Facebook Live program that we do every day, Monday to Sunday, in the evening, every day, weekday, 6 p.m. in the morning, 8 a.m. Weekend sometimes a bit shaky because of a lot of things, but we try to have at least 2 sessions on Saturday and 2 sessions on Sunday. In the evening sessions are usually 8 p.m. Now, the objective of this particular training program online today is, number one, to help you to understand the importance and benefit of value-added product, the importance and benefit of value-added product. Also, to help you understand product ideas that can be derived from agri-produce. Product ideas that can be derived from agri-produce. Then preparation and planning for agro-processing. Preparation and planning for agro-processing. Then packaging involved in export business. Then I will also mention good manufacturing practices and HACCP. HACCP is HACCP, Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point. Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point. Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point. I'll be looking at that also in this series. Then I'll be providing solution. I'll be looking at some of the challenges of export business and providing solution to them. Then I'll be talking about what I describe as export market entry, promotional strategy for local and export market, pricing strategy in export business, paperwork involved in exportation, and strategy for raising capital. Strategies for raising capital. Olakunle Otolori, thank you very much for joining. Good morning and welcome. Adeni Adeyinka, thank you very much for joining. Good morning and welcome. David Okiari, thank you very much for joining. Good morning and welcome. Kemi Oladipo Adibayo, thank you very much for joining. Good morning and welcome. All right. So we'll start now with the preamble. Now, in the preamble, I'm talking about what I've spoken about before, and this is basically just talking about the keys to export business success. Some of the keys to export business success. And by the way, please know that you might be able to apply this. You might be able to apply this in other businesses, not just in export alone. In other businesses, not just in export alone. Number one is to avoid starting a business that is at variance with your passion and gifting. Avoid starting a business that is at variance with your passion and gifting. Avoid starting a business that is at variance with your passion and gifting. If you are going to do export, go into an area of exporting that will help you. Go into an area of exporting that will help you, that is in line with your passion, so that it will help you to be able to continue. Now, what was the whole essence of passion? Because every venture in life has challenges. Every venture in life will face challenges. And in the time of that challenge, what will make you to be able to sail through, what will make you to be able to go through, what will make you to be able to overcome and survive is the passion you have for that thing. The idea of gifting also is gifting with respect to your unique talent to produce a product, to manufacture a product, or produce a service should be an area of interest. Now, if you are saying, okay, Dele, I am an accountant. I love accounting. I am an architect. I love architect. I'm a gifted engineer. Those services can be sold. Those services can be exported. Those services can be deployed abroad. And I'll be talking about that after this series. So that as you listen to this starting and managing export business, in this series now, I will focus on product export. Then in the next series, I'll focus on service export. So if you listen to the product export right now, you will learn the principles around product export. You will learn the principles around product export. So around export generally and from the perspective of product. When I now talk about service export, you will now be able to see the difference. Because there's something I'll talk about service export that I won't talk about in product export. That I will talk about in product. I won't talk about service export because if you have listened to my starting and managing export business, this is on starting and managing export generally. Only that I'll be using product for most of my examples. When I'm now discussing service, I'll be using service as most of my examples. Why am I saying all this? For you to understand the fact that when I say you should do export business that is in sync, you should do export business that is in line, that you should do export business that is in tandem with your area of passion and gifting, it is because for a business to be successful, three things must fuse together. Passion on one hand, gift, talent, skill on one hand, and lastly, you will be having market on the other hand. Someone said, I would like food-related business, specifically food processing. Current discussion is actually on food or on product export. And I was spending more time on food because most people export food. I did a survey recently trying to get people together to ask them questions about exporting to West Africa. And most of them were food processing. So I can dare say that most of our SMEs export food. Most people not exporting food or food-related products are probably not SMEs. Most of them are probably not SME, but there are people that are not SME that export food and not food product. People that are SME that export non-food product, like people that do clothing, people that do fashion, bags, shoes, and the like. But most people are into food. So Kemi Oladipo, be rest assured in this series you will learn a lot about food because the focus of this series is on product and our major target is on food, knowing fully well that many of our exporters are into food export. I hope I've answered your question. All right, let's continue. Like I was saying that three things must fuse when you are trying to export. And I talk about passion, gift, skill or talent, and market. Passion keeps you going when there are challenges. Gift helps you to be able to do what you are doing in a unique way. There are doctors and there are doctors. There are fashion designer and there are fashion designer. There are different people in the same field, but some seem to excel a lot better than others because they are in their own zone. Someone said, for you to receive your full allocation from life, you must locate your location. So if your location, for example, is in food processing, you are going to do food processing in such a unique way that everybody that hear and listen to you will be challenged, will be amazed. Anybody that buy your product, you will add some unique characteristics. You'll be unique in the way you go about it. You know why? Because of the fact that you are in your gifted zone. You are in your gifted zone. You know, when I go to speak, people are, I went for a training seminar some times ago in LBS. They've been doing it, it's a 1 week program. I came on the third day, and when I finished the first session I had, it was on export, talking about export, and that's a Lagos Business School. Then one of the people is a general, a retired general, and he came to me to say, look, we've been in here for three days. This is the only one everybody have clapped when you finish your session. Why? Because of the uniqueness of the presentation. So I have found my zone, that it has to be in facilitation, it has to be in training, it has to be in teaching, it has to be in talking to people, and I'm doing it in export. Only that I'm rendering support services to exporter. Now, what I'm saying is that either you are gifted in product, manufacturing, or you are gifted in rendering, service. There is always a way. There is always a way to export that product or service. And that makes you different in the marketplace. That makes you different in the marketplace. And I'm saying anything you want to do in terms of export, please focus on things you are passionate about. Don't export charcoal because everybody is exporting charcoal. Don't export food because everybody is exporting food. Export the item you want to export because you are passionate about it and you are gifted in producing that product. This is one of the major issues with many businesses in Nigeria. People just want to do business, not because it's an area of gifting and purpose and calling, is mainly because they want to make money. So when that thing is no more bringing money, they throw it away. But if you are passionate about it, even when there is no money, the fulfillment you get in doing it is enough. The fulfillment you get in doing it is enough. So even when you are not making all the money in that particular venture, you still want to do it. Even when you are not making money in that particular venture, you still want to do it. Why do you want to do it? Because of the passion. Because of your gifting. Your gifting makes you to be unique, make people to keep coming back. But you will still have challenge at the beginning when people don't know you. You need to understand how life works. I'm a Christian. The Bible says that the evening and the morning was the first day. The evening and the morning was the first day. I learned a principle from that. And the principle is there's always darkness before the dawn. There's always darkness before the dawn. You will always be in obscurity before you come to light. You will always be in obscurity before you come to light. You will always be in obscurity before you come to light. You will always be in obscurity before you come to light. That means in the time of obscurity, what will keep you going, what will keep you moving, what will keep the business standing is your passion, is the fire in the belly, is the satisfaction you get in doing that thing, is the love you have for that thing, is the desire you have for beyond the money. Because at this point, you are not making the money. At this point, the funds are not coming. At this point, the resources are not coming. So you get discouraged because the funds are not coming. You get discouraged because the resources are not coming. But what keeps you going despite the discouragement? What keeps you going despite not making money? What keeps you going despite the challenges is the passion you have. So please, avoid doing a business in export that does not involve your passionate area and does not involve your area of natural gifting and talent. Avoid that area of export that does not involve your passionate area, that does not involve the area you are gifted in. And this is very important. This is very crucial. This is very important. This is priceless. This is priceless. It's priceless because if you can just imbibe this, if you can just practice this, then you are on your way to building a great business. Then you are on your way to building an awesome business. Then you are on your way to building a mammoth business. Now, remember, passion, fire in the belly, keeps you going. Gifted, uniqueness of your product, of your service, and lastly, market. The whole essence. So when you found the place you are passionate about, you are gifted about, then you go and do the research, the market research, to decide. Because you have different area of passion that you are also gifted in. The next thing is there a market for it? So you now do your market research. The whole essence of market research is to now validate that is the area I should go. The whole essence of market research is to know who are those willing to pay me for this. If I do this, who are those that will be willing to give me something for it? I'll be rounding off now. We'll continue in the evening by 6 p.m. And we've started this discussion, starting and managing export business. This morning we have part 1, and in the evening we have part 2. Thank you for listening. My name is Dele Ayimibo, and this is Import Export Platform Facebook Live for 3 Person Academy. Bye for now, and have a great day at work.